Hello, my friend. Welcome back to the Path to Better A1C podcast. I am your host, Jenny Peña, National Board Certified Health and Wellness Coach, Diabetes Prevention Program Lifestyle Coach, creator of the A1C Reset Protocol. Is my signature 12-week program to help you balance your blood sugar, control cravings, increase your energy, and prevent diabetes. And I am coming today with something that a lot of my clients come and it's like the first thing that they actually want to address. And that is emotional eating and the 3 p.m. slump. Now, episode 45, we are going to talk about this. Now, before we dive in, I want to remind you that you can grab your free blood sugar balancing snacks list at subscribepage.io/snacks. And it's a simple go to resource to help you respond to those hunger cravings and especially the afternoon slump in a way that is going to support your energy and help you take control of them. Let's talk about something I hear often. Why is it that I hit a wall in the afternoon? Some days, emotions push me to snack. Other days, around 3 p.m., that crash, it hits hard. This is what I hear all the time. Now, emotional eating and that infamous 3 p.m. slump often go hand in hand. And today we are going to unpack why and how to shift your response. Now, let's talk about emotional eating and why it actually happens, right? Um, a lot of people think that being emotional is bad or negative. Emotions are emotions. That's what makes us different and human and special. But being that said, emotional eating is not necessarily your enemy because it's how your brain and your body is trying to cope. Stress, boredom, loneliness, anxiety, well, they all light up reward circuits that make food feel comforting. So think about all of that, right? Like it's not just the emotional part, but all of these different triggers, right, that are tied to our emotions. Those are the ones that create that desire for food to find comfort. So eating something sweet or rich, it triggers dopamine and serotonin and it gives you that short relief. But I'm going to tell you, it's short lived and often followed by guilt and more cravings. So when these emotions drive eating rather than hunger, and we talked about that on the previous episode, we lose track of purpose. That's why emotional eating tends to feel completely out of control. I once worked with a client who always grabbed snacks after tense meeting calls. And side note, I work with a lot of corporate workers. A lot of people are on C-suite, a lot of people that have very demanding jobs, long hours. And this client realized it wasn't even about fuel. It was just the system seeking for that pause, for that reset. And that was what was available. So once recognizing that pattern, guess what my client did? Client started using alternative tools, and we explore these tools together. Take a pause, take a stretch, maybe a couple of intentional breathing exercises, right? Before reaching for that food. And even incorporating that between meetings just to find that piece of breath, right? Like that mini reset in the middle of all this very high demanding calendar, because it's something that um, the client couldn't really control all the time. But we figured things out that worked out. So I will invite you to think about these things. What can you do to incorporate that mini break that will break that pattern? Now, let's talk about the 3 p.m. slump and why you actually crash, right? Because there are different elements. Now, we're going to go into the slump and that mid afternoon dip. that can be real and can be partly wired into us. You see, our circadian rhythm naturally shifts in the afternoon. It is starting to signal to rest, right? Like in the morning, you're waking up, you're energized, you know that you have all these things to do. And in the afternoon, the body knows, okay, like the day is about to end. Let me start shifting and signaling that it's time for you to start slowing down and getting your rest. And when you combine that with a very heavy lunch with fast carbs that doesn't have enough protein or fiber, and then the blood sugar drop, well, you know you're going to have that energy crash. It's just that perfect combination for it. Now, there is an interesting article from Nutrition Australia that um, I was reading, and it was very interesting because it was reminding that skipping meals, eating high glycemic index carbs, and not hydrating, these are all the culprits, the flags for that slump to happen. So if you're skipping meals and if you're eating all of these processed carbs, high glycemic index, and you're not hydrating properly, and we talked about that in previous episodes, um, that's kind of like how you build the perfect condition for that slump. That's exactly how it happens. And then that sugar and caffeine boost that I was guilty of, I worked in corporate, I worked in the finance area many years. And you run for that. Like, I lived on coffee. I lived on looking, even if it was a stale donut from the morning and I was hungry at 3 p.m. in the afternoon, I was just looking for that quick fix. It gives you a spike, but it gives you a deeper crash after. It makes often that slump, it makes it worse. So you're trying to get more done, but your brain fog won't let you. That slump, you still are crashing. And it actually makes it take longer for you to complete certain tasks. So fast sugar fixes are short lived and just lead to rebound fatigue. And then dehydration, low nutrient levels, because that is a possibility, right? Like iron, B vitamins, your system is going to become more vulnerable. That's another element that you need to think about. Emphasizing on hydration, making sure that you're getting iron rich foods and getting those B vitamins within your food to support your energy. Tools to shift this pattern. What can we do about it? And this is something that almost every client that I have worked with, about 300 at this point, this is what everybody asks. First, want to build that awareness. Want to notice when the slump comes, what your emotional state is, what you ate for lunch, how you hydrated. These are the things that you can do to build awareness. The second, pause before reacting. And you're going to hear that a lot this month. Ask yourself, am I truly hungry? Am I just tired? Or is this emotional? I'm going to say this again. First, build that awareness. Think about your emotional state. What did you eat for lunch? Did you drink enough food? Did you skip meals? Did you have enough protein? And then pause and ask, okay, am I truly hungry? Do I need to get a balanced snack? Is this emotions just because I've had a very intense day so far? Or am I just tired? And then the third element that I would say, and that I typically do with my clients as well, is to adjust your lunch and your afternoon routine. Try to choose foods that are slow release carbs, those are complex carbs, protein, and fat. That is the key to avoiding those sharp blood sugar swings. The other thing is stay hydrated, drink throughout the afternoon. I am based in New York, and right now we're kind of like kicking off fall. It's still quite warm, at the time that I'm recording this, but when the weather gets colder, a lot of my clients struggle with hydration. Remember that if you drink herbal tea, that does count as hydration, then swap it for herbal tea. Drink something warm, and that counts for your hydration. But stay hydrated. The other thing, and if you have been listening to me for the past year, you know that I am not very fond of fasting. There's some science out there. I will coach you through it if you come and you truly believe that this is what's best for your body. But skipping meals can be a bit dangerous, especially when you have blood sugar imbalances. So aim for balanced lunch. If you need to schedule your snacks to find that balance until you regulate your body and your cues, again, I have that blood sugar balancing snacks list. Do that, but try not to skip meals and go too long without eating. And also use non food resets. When you're having these emotional moments, right? Like things that you know that you need that comfort, go for a brief walk, step away from your desk, take deep breaths, right? Like take an intentional break that is not necessarily tied to food. And again, keep your snacks list ready. Have some options. If you know you're going to have a crazy day and lots of meetings, maybe having a protein drink, maybe having a protein bar. I mean, they're not something for you to do every day, but to have a backup plan so that you don't have to go through hours without eating and having those snacks that are better options for you. So small shifts like tweaking your lunch, consistent water, pausing. I know it sounds like too basic, and yet they can dramatically reduce that crash. So remember, emotional eating and the 3 p.m. slump often feel like you're failing. And I don't want you to have guilt. I know that a prediabetes diagnosis and a diabetes diagnosis and any diagnosis that is related to lifestyle habits, it makes you feel a bit responsible and guilty about it. But I want you to really just think that, okay, it's not like you're failing. You're really just getting signals from your brain, signals from your body, signals from your environment. You just need to start seeing these patterns, see your emotional state, see your lunch composition, see how much you're hydrating, and then you move from reacting to it to responding to it and gaining that control and that empowerment. And that's where freedom starts, not through denial, but through awareness and knowing, I know where this is coming from and I know exactly what I need to do. So that's emotional eating and the 3 p.m. slump dissected. Hopefully, you got lots of value from this. Now, next week is our October Cravings Series finale, and we're going to talk about candy without the crash. Now, I know it's Halloween, and I am going to try to give you some tips so that you can enjoy sweets in a way that does not wreck your energy. Now, in the meantime, again, don't forget to get your free blood sugar balancing snacks list at subscribepage.io/snacks, your support system for when cravings and crashes strike, because it has a lot of different options and things that are already combined optimally so that you can curve those cravings and regain your energy. Thank you so much for listening. I will catch you on episode 46, which is Halloween in the US. And we'll talk about how to deal with the candy and not the crash. Have an amazing rest of your week. Bye.